remembering the assault on Toyota by our federal government. And where was our Congressman Ben Chandler? AWOL, absent without leave. To understand what happened to Toyota, we need to go back to the summer of 2009, when General Motors declared bankruptcy and wound up being owned jointly by the United States federal government and the United Auto Workers Union. In August of 2009, at a luncheon, Ben Chandler was questioned about the ownership arrangements of General Motors. His answer was, if you look at the crisis of the free market, you want to see the government step in and take control to save the industry. The conflict between Toyota and the federal government that played itself out over the next months shows exactly what happens when a private company operates in direct competition with a federally owned enterprise. And where was Ben Chandler? He was on the sidelines. Mr. No Comment.
We're here about the closing of the NUMMI plant. We know it's wrong. They're anti-union, and these are union jobs. Again, anti-union, anti-worker attitudes, they gotta be shown the right way. We gotta make them good corporate citizens. You wanna make...
The NUMMI auto plant in Fremont, California was run as a joint venture between GM and Toyota. The plant had struggled for years to break even, and GM pulled out. Toyota was left on their own with an expensive unionized workforce in the state of California, where high taxes and environmental regulations made it impossible to continue. 5,400 NUMMI workers, most of them union members, were facing layoffs. In January 2010, the UAW and Teamsters were involved in nationwide protests against Toyota.
And, you know, they're blaming Toyota, and Toyota is not to blame. Actually, it was GM that started this. GM is the one that backed out. When GM backed out, then we lost the partnership. You know, why blame Toyota? You know, if you want to blame something, you know, one of the reasons they don't blame GM is because the UAW, I don't know what the percentage is, but they own a portion of GM.
My advice is, if anybody owns one of these vehicles, stop driving it.
The Obama administration came to the rescue of the UAW, its business partner and financial donor, by sending federal officials to Japan to discuss a recall issue with Toyota. On February the 2nd, less than a week after the UAW demonstration at the Japanese consulate, Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood told owners of Toyota models in question to stop driving their cars. He issued this statement, "We are not done with Toyota yet." And they weren't. A firestorm ensued with the help of a very willing media. Complaints against Toyota skyrocketed. Toyota issued recall after recall. Lawyers began to circle like sharks after blood. The federal government's own car company, GM, ran a special advertising campaign to try and draw Toyota customers into their showrooms. And the president of Toyota was called to Washington to be battered by members of Congress, eager to grandstand in front of the public.
Why should we believe that things are going to get better?
My name is on every car. You have my personal commitment that Toyota will work vigorously and unceasingly to restore the trust of our customers.
Time has passed, and the cars have been examined by the federal government. One official who has since retired and is choosing to talk about the investigation of the Toyotas is reporting that they found nothing wrong with the cars, that the unintended acceleration was driver error, but that the Department of Transportation is withholding the report just in hopes that they can find something wrong with the vehicles. So what great sin has Toyota committed? Easy, they're non-union. Toyota now joins a long line of companies that have been demonized by the Obama administration for political purposes. Most of us in Central Kentucky realized this was a political attack right from the start. So why didn't Ben Chandler see that? Or did he see it and choose to look the other way? for 3 weeks after Ray LaHood told people to stop driving their Toyotas, Ben Chandler laid low. He offered not one word of defense on behalf of the 7,000 people who work for Toyota here in his district. Finally, he did show up at the Georgetown Toyota plant, only to have pictures taken of himself to put on his website. Is that what you're promised by Congressman Chandler?
I would rather be a participator and get in and slug it out and try to make things happen than to stay on the sidelines and watch. I would like to be remembered in another number of ways. I'd like to be remembered as somebody who had courage.
We don't know that guy of energy and courage. The Ben Chandler that we will remember is a man who took hundreds of thousands of dollars from unions and trial lawyers and then stood silently by while they attacked the industry of his district. We will remember the Ben Chandler, our representative, who stood by and said nothing, while his president and his party tried to dismantle the jobs in our own backyard. We remember Toyota. And we remember a congressman who was AWOL, absent without leave.